17 weeks, only one league out of 32 squads. No one's messing with our team. We all bleed black and purple. You can check our IVs. Raven Nation fly high. Watch us all spread our wings. Put your game face on. Embarrass the competition. You ain't talking about the greatest if the Ravens aren't mentioned. Screw every other team, cause those dudes are whack. In Baltimore, the only thing we know is purple and black. Go! They always win when the championship's on the line. So if you hoping that they failed, then you really wasting your time. Go and ask the 49ers, I'm pretty sure they remember when they made a comeback, but weren't declared the winners. 2 rings down, but you know they won't stop now. If the opposing D's caught slipping, you know exactly how that goes. That's another deep connection for 6 points in the end zone. The stadium goes wacko as Ravens put in work. Pittsburgh Steelers, that still curtain is looking more like a skirt. So tell me who they say is gonna beat them Bengals. Who used to be the Browns until they relocated? Ravens, they are one of the greatest. There's simply no denying it. To beat them, bringing your A game's a requirement. With the youth of the team, I bet they still be dominant, even after the greatest linebacker's retirement. 17 weeks, only one league out of 32 squads. No one's messing with our team. We all bleed black and purple. You can check our IVs. Raven Nation fly high. Watch us all spread our wings. Put your game face on. Embarrass the competition. You ain't talking about the greatest if the Ravens aren't mentioned. Screw every other team, cause those dudes are whack. In Baltimore, the only thing we know is purple and black. Go!
Yo, welcome to another edition of SCG Sports. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the people who are going to be joining us live. Thank you for the people watching the replay. We're going to discuss what's happening right now to the state of the Ravens. Obviously, I usually do streamings at the beginning part of the week. And the main thing this week is I've been just waiting, right? Like all of us been waiting for the Lamar Jackson interview, right? He teased it during the last weekend. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to stream early in the week. I'm going to wait until later in the week. That way, if he comes to the interview, I can do my reaction, right? That was my goal. That was what I've been waiting for. And here we are at the end of the week. That soon interview is still being waiting. But whatever. Let's talk here. Big news. We signed somebody. Nelson Agholor. Well, Nelson Agholor is funny enough because our fan base is freaking out. We signed Nelson Agholor. Usually, you sign a guy like Nelson Agholor to 1-year deal, $3 million, and you're like, okay, that's depth. But the problem is, our current state of the wide receiver room, we are almost assuming like he's a critical piece. The contract doesn't assume that. But if you look at our room and we're like, WTF. Then at the same time, DJ Chark, a guy that I do like a lot, signs for 5, just $2 million more guarantee. I don't know if he has like an upside that he can make more. Nelson Agholor can make up to 6.8, but again, if he's making 6.8 because he's killing it, nobody's really gonna be complaining that he's making 6.8, right? So 3 to 5, DJ Chark, in my opinion, would have been better. Nelson Agholor. It's a guy that I didn't like coming out of USC, and he has not looked good throughout his career. He's okay. Like, if he's wide receiver 3, when it's all said and done, okay. Again, not bad for wide receiver 3. But if he's wide receiver 2, God help us, if he's wide receiver 1, then you have issues. But the other thing is, as the flock here is like, why are we not bringing more receivers? At the same time, our receiving core or receiving talent out there is looking at the Ravens saying, like, what's your quarterback? Why would I go there? Especially in a 1-year deal, why will I go there? Only if I don't have a market, which I think that's where Mr. Nelson Agholor found himself. But again, if we look at it, if you detach from it for a moment, like it's hard, but if you detach, if you take yourself away for a moment and say, is it a good signing? Well, for the money, it's not a bad signing, right? It's not like, oh my God, we just pay a bunch of money to this guy that is gonna be a bum. No, it's a minimum. It's almost a minimal minimal, like a vet minimal deal, right? It's very close to that. And if you're looking at a vet minimal deal, are you expecting that guy to be a huge contribution? No, you're expecting him to be a role piece. And if you look at Nelson Aguilar as a role piece, he's fine. He's fine. Nothing here to be scandalous. But the problem is you're looking at the room and you're like, holy crap. Okay, saying that, look, Lamar Jackson, I mean, I talk about it so much yesterday in AFC North talk, so I don't want to beat the dead horse. What I want to focus more is like, how can we get out of the funk? Right now, the three teams in our division are looking at like, yeah, you suck, right? Because as I stated 3 weeks ago, we have been becoming the Browns. We are currently the Browns. We are the laughing stock. Now, this is not necessarily the Ravens' fault. They do have most of the blame because they could have just fixed this years ago. There's blame to go all around, right? There's blame just to move around. But at this point, it is what it is. How can we move forward, right? And by the way, if you're right now one of the people that are watching live, hit that like button. And if you are one of the watching the replay, also hit the like button. Helps me a lot. And give me a comment in the video. Again, helps me a lot with the algorithm. Okay. How can we move forward? How can we, as of right now, if you're looking at the Ravens, you're thinking fourth in the division, right? There's no way, right? Because we're assuming no Lamar. If Lamar's here, well, then you're fighting for, you always have a chance, right? Third, second, first, who knows? But you have a chance. But how? How can we become a contender? Not for the playoffs. After the playoffs, I want to be a contender for the Super Bowl. We are always a contender to the playoffs. I even think if you put Huntley there, you're a contender to make the playoffs. Are we a contender to the Super Bowl? That is going to be the question. How can we flip this funk? Well, the first thing is the Lamar Jackson situation is not going to get fixed tomorrow because another team is not going to make an offer. So you have one of two things, Ravens. I'm talking directly to you, Mr. Eric DaCosta, because Eric DaCosta, you know I'm not your biggest fan. I'm not one of those either Ravens YouTuber or Raven media that I'm like, yes, Eric DaCosta, the godfather. I'm not that. I've not been like that for years. But, and also for Steve Bisciotti, I think it's something that I would recommend if I was running a business, but this is a little bit different. Also, I'm a fan. I will almost humble myself and go to Lamar and whatever the contract is, right? Because right now Lamar's dig in his heels. I don't need it, and I kind of agree with him. Although lately I'm like, you just need a PR group. I don't need an agent. Cool, right? But I'm not looking for a full guarantee. Now that's out there in the ether. I almost will go back to Lamar and say, look, let's say hypothetically the contract right now that is out there is that 6 years, 290 something with almost 200 mil guarantee or 200 overall guarantees, 133 at signing. I'll be Lamar, look, let's sweeten the deal. Let's guarantee 205, right? And I'll give you 140 mil guarantee, right? Just so he can say, look what I did. I don't need any stinking agent. I negotiated and I got even more. Just to make him feel better, right? We've all been there. We're all prideful people, right? Our pride sometimes gets on top of what we want, right? Or what is best for us. Not what we want, what is best for us. I think the Ravens do that. Blink a little bit, give him an out. Lamar can say, oh, I even got more. I always wanted to be a Raven. That's because he has never bashed the Ravens really publicly. I wanted to be a Raven. And he can even come say, like, I thought about even giving more, but you know what? I wanted to be a Raven, so I took a little bit less guarantee to be a Raven. The Ravens can say, like, oh, we didn't want to give as much guarantee, but we think Lamar's worth it. Both sides look good and we can move forward. And again, that is step one to saving this offseason/season, because if you go to the season with Lamar in the transition tag, not doing much, in this limbo state, and then Lamar, every time that he gets hurt, he's like, you know what? I can just stay. I don't need this crap. I can just be injured, right? The season's over. It's over before it starts. So that's the first step, right? Eat a little bit of the pride from both sides, and then let's come into agreement. Ravens, give a little bit more. Lamar, just say, okay. Because now Lamar knows the market. Okay. Second, I think you trade out of the first round pick with the Cardinals and say, Cardinals, you're shopping for a third round pick, right? Right. That's roughly what you're shopping for our guy over there, Hopkins. Hopkins is a type of move the Ravens make. A veteran receiver that they've been productive for other teams, right? That's what Ankle Baldwin was, Mason, T. Hughes-Manchada, T. Smith. Those are usually what the Ravens hit, because in the rookie pool, they have not been able to hit really good. Contributor, Hollywood Brown was a contributor. Bateman, less to extent because he gets injured more. Contributor too when he's healthy. Torrey Smith, contributor, right? But hasn't been the normal. More normal as we get a bet, and that bet contributes, right? You say D-Hop is not worth a first, right? Not in the market right now, but you can say, you know what? You have the 35th, right? 35th, around 35th pick, Cardinals. I'm going to give you my 22nd pick for that 35th. You're pushing 13 spots. That is a lot. That is a lot for DeAndre Hopkins. So you don't lose draft picks, but you're not going to have a first round pick. You're going to get D-Hop, right? Now you have Lamar. You have D-Hop as your number one. You have Bateman as number two. Bateman played well when he was the number one. Right? So having D-Hop there is going to even help more Bateman. But not only that D-Hop gets help because Bateman will be on the other side, hopefully healthy. It's a big year for Bateman. If he gets injured again for a third year in a row, now the label of injury prone, I mean, the label's in the ether right now, but now will be attached to his name, right? Also, Duvernay, when he was wide receiver 3, was when he played his best, right? Last year. Meaning you have Bateman playing and you had our guy Andrews, and then he was the third option. The third option is a better way to put it. So if you do it like that, then you can go, again, saving the offseason. So you have your big-time wide receiver, you have Lamar, you have Bateman, you have Duvernay. Duvernay also needs a big year, looking for a contract, right? But you still have an early second. You could jump to the late first. You don't want to do that. You don't have a third round pick, so you don't want to do that. But now you can get one of the smaller receivers. I'm talking about 2 of them today. They can be your slot guy. They can in theory replace Duvernay, right? That hasn't shown what you have wanting. Not only that, if you bring one of that, again, Hopkins, you get Bate. You get one of these receivers. You didn't even have to, but if you want, you get one of these receivers, right? Now you also, not only that, you have Andrews and Likely, right? And Kolar, to be fair, a guy that I did not like from the draft, the pick. But the game that he played, I was like, oh man, this Kolar dude knows how to play in the soft zones, right? He knows where to position himself. He's short-handed. I liked it a lot. Right? So now you have weapons. The problem is we have a lot of mid players, and we don't have that guy that is like a true number one that can take it. And if you have that, that's gonna elevate everybody, right? Even Andrews, you're gonna elevate everybody, and now you can go back and say, "Whoa, now you have weapons," right? But Hopkins ain't coming here if you don't have Lamar. So that again, everything centers on Lamar. And for all you're like, oh, why are they not making moves? But no wide receiver will come to Baltimore unless you overpay for him or have Lamar, right? That is honest base. Saying that, they could also in the draft go corner, but I think still they should go wide receiver. Corner, they drafted Armour Davis, and I understand Armour Davis has some coverage missed wonders, which ended up benching him. So did Pepe. But year 2, growth is what you want, and we'll see. You can also look, Marcus Peterson. It's not being signed by anybody right now, so you might bring all our oldies for cheap, right? If you do what I said, you can say, okay, Calais, because Calais, I think, who would like to be back at the Ravens, but not if they're not contending. But now you can say, okay, Calais, we have Lamar, come back for a 1-year deal, cheap, right? Incentive base. If we win the Super Bowl, here's some extra money. Justin Houston, again, we gotta have a job now, but we'll prefer to have you here as a mentor. We'll give you this base salary and incentive base. Same thing with Marcus Peters, and go for it. Go for it. You bring your 3 oldies and go for it. And that gives you more flexibility in that pick. Again, you drafted Armour Davis to be potentially a replacement of Marcus Peters. He was a 4th-round pick. You never think a 4th-round pick will flourish year 1. You're hoping year 2 you can see growth, and year 3 is when you see them more on the field. So same thing with Pepe. We shall see. Okay, so now before I go to these picks here, shout out to Nemo, shout out to Cam, Gerald, and Be More Raven Goonie. Poor Nelson getting flamed before he's even play a snap for the Ravens. Yeah, so that's the other thing. I mean, these players see Twitter, and I do feel bad for Nelson. I don't even like Nelson, but I think the biggest problem is if let's say what I just mentioned, that the Ravens would announce today, we got D-Hop, we flip our feathers in second, and then the next day you hear, oh, the Ravens signed wide receiver Nelson. Nobody would have been blinking. But the problem is our first move is signing Nelson Aguilar. People feel a certain way about that, okay? That is the main thing. Okay. And then also the DJ Shark, again, I think is a better receiver, not going for much more. But if you think about Nelson as a minimal, as a almost a bet minimal, a depth piece, then doesn't hurt as much. Okay, I'm talking about these 2 receivers, and definitely after this, I'm wanting to either go edge or corner. Look, you know the type of receiver I like. It's the Johnston kid, right? That's the type of receiver that I would like. Johnston, I think, has a big ceiling, also a very low floor. Similar to Richardson as the quarterback from the Gators. Not that I scout him really good, but seems that his ceiling is super high, but his floor is super low, right? That's where Johnston is. And we talk about Addison, how Addison for me is good, not great. That I think he should be more of a 2nd-round pick, in my opinion, Addison. In late 2nd at best. How about JSN, right? Smith and Jigba is really polished route router. I think his ceiling is not as high. Meaning his Smith and Jigba is basically very close to the receiver he's gonna be. He might have some growth, but his floor is basically already there, right? So it's close to non-miss. I don't know if he's gonna be a number 1, but he at worst will be a number 2. Who else we talk about? We talk about Johnston. We talk about and Flowers. How I love Flowers. He was a receiver I did not want to like. The guy that I wanted to like with Johnston, but how Flowers a bulldog, and I love his tenacity, his passion. And he reminded me about Steve Smith. And then we have 2 more undersized receivers. Again, I'm looking at these guys and I'm like, do I really want to like them? No. Do I, is that the type of receiver I think the Ravens need? No. I mean, that's what Duvernay, we have no height in our receiver room, right? That's what D-Hop will be great. But nevertheless, I was like, okay, a lot of people keep, I see all your mocks, right? They keep putting Tank Dell in our mocks in the 3rd-round pick or whatever. And then, not necessarily, I haven't seen much downs, right? But he was a guy that intrigued me and that I've read about him before or heard about him before. So I was like, okay. And I also, before I do this, I did not watch the combine. I don't care about the combine. I have made an effort to stop caring about the combine because the combine used to push myself in certain ways that then I was like, but I'm seeing this on tape, and oh my god, that combine, and then pyramid happens, right? Pro Bowl the same way, right? I might read about the Pro Bowl. I'm not like I used to be very invested. Okay, let's talk about Tank Dell 5'8". So and Downs is 5'9". So definitely on the smaller side of these both receivers. So let's talk about Tank Dell. Slot receiver for sure. He plays fast. When I say plays fast, what I was seeing on tape, he looked like his acceleration, that first step. That's the best word. That first step is quick. First step is quick. Really good release. I have great release here. Not sure about that second gear, meaning I think his releases are clean. He accelerates quick, but once he has it, or once he goes to that second top, his acceleration is not there. That was also my critique about Smith and Jigma, right? That Smith and Jigma was clean releases. I mean, the Smith and Jigma route running ability was second to none. This guy is not like that. But that second top of the end of the speed, I didn't see it. Again, did not know his 40 yards. I don't know. He does play fast. It's just that first 3 seconds. But in that next 3 seconds is where I'm missing. Has some injury history that is concerning. And this is the more tape that I was watching, right? The more Houston games that I was watching, I put this comment. If he doesn't have a clean release, right? So let's say the corner does get to his chest, right? He does not do the hand swing or anything to have just pass him by with a clean release. So if he gets jammed, essentially, he gets taken out of the play. And that for me was okay. That means that you really don't have that top end speed, what it was looking at least. Top end speed wasn't there, and that's route running was not there either, right? Because you can get jammed, all receivers get jammed, and if you have top end speed, you can still get past them. If you have good route running abilities, you can still get open with that, right? Tank Dell is a guy that I love his passion. I love the tenacity. He looks like a smart player. But there's something missing there. You know who he reminds me a little bit of? When we drafted him, we were talking like, oh my god, he's the contestant catch king. Tank Dell's not the contestant catch king. But Wallace. I was gonna say Walker, but Wallace. He has some Wallace in it. That Wallace, if he couldn't get away from the corner, he's basically out of the play. That's why he was the contested catching. This guy basically, I didn't see that many contested catches. He has some. I don't know where people are drafting him in mocks, but I think he is perfect for a early third round pick or later. That's where Tank Dell should be, right? His size, actually, late third is early fourth is probably his best place, right? His size limits him. I think he's a punt returner that brings some value, but his size limits him, and he does a lot of good things, but nothing great. And that was again in Houston against corners that are just apart. We're not talking about the best corners in college, right? We're talking about like good corners, but nothing great. Anyway, I do think he fits Ravens because let's say in my dream scenario you bring Hopkins, right? And you have Aguilar now, and you have Bateman, but then Tank Bell can be your other slot guy, right? And C, right? Because Duvernay might fall out of Ravens' favors right now, right? I'm not saying that he's gonna be out of the team, but he definitely is gonna be a special teamer trying to get more receiver snaps. But a guy like Tank Dell can take it. Now Duvernay is fast. Tank Dell's not that fast. Or at least he doesn't play as fast. Again, I don't know the 40. But let's talk about the other guy, Josh Downs. Because this is one that I did love. And again, I haven't seen a lot of Ravens fans talk about it. Oh, wait. I did pull just I always like to pull the stats. Last year, Dell is listed as a 5'10" here. 109 receptions, 1398 yards, 17 touchdowns. Very, very productive. In the bowl game he had 10 receptions, a buck 50 against Auburn. Now Auburn is this is not that. This is the fall. This is the previous year. He played against UL. I don't even know who UL is. Louisiana Regine Cajuns or whatever that is, right? 6 receptions, 44 yards, 2 touchdowns. That was it. The two before that, 9 receptions, $176, $161 with a touchdown each. But again, Tulsa's a decent program. ECU, man, he doesn't face that level every week. Contested catches are nice and all, but Ravens need a yak monster. That's from BMore Raven Gunny. Okay, let's talk about touchdown. And by the way, I do not agree that they not need somebody that does contested catches. We had nobody. And when Flacco was in trouble, all he did was throw it around Anquan Bolden. And Anquan Bolden figured how to come down with it. Lamar Jackson has none of that. He has not. You can say Andrew doesn't have high point the ball. Andrew just knows how to use his body and just move his cell in a way that he usually ends up with the catch. Okay? Touchdowns. This is a kid that I like. Josh Downs, again, I don't know if people are mocking him to us. I'm not sure. But talk about a guy that plays bigger. I have it here somewhere. Second, plays big. Way bigger. I remember in the AFC North talk, me and Tony talk about, and he's like, oh, Chase Claypool plays small. And I'm saying, I hate that. I feel like that was Miles Boykins, right? You're big for no reason. You don't play with height. You are, I guess my main thing is you're big for no reason. You're playing small. You don't know how to use your body. But this kid, Downs, he definitely plays bigger than what he's 5'9", 5'10". He plays way bigger than what his size is, right? High points the ball, jumps and catches the ball, contested catches. Again, for being this size, the amount of percent of contested catches that he's come, I think his contested catch rate was above 70%. What? For 5'9", 5'10", what? And he's in the ACC, right? So he's playing against decent corners, decent defense. How is he coming with 70% of the contested catch? By the way, one thing as I was watching this kid's film or game, I know a lot of people talk about the quarterback out of UNC. I mean, he has a lot of great throws, but he threw a couple passes just like, dude, thank God Josh Downs knows how to manipulate his body, move his body, and get with the ball. Now, I will say this. I do love that he high points the ball. He jumps and catches that ball, again, by this size of a receiver. Sometimes I think he falls in love with jumping too much and he jumps for no reason. But that's something he can clean up. He has strong hands. For the most part, I did not see him letting the ball come into him. Always catching it with his hand. Now, he has some drops. He needs to clean that up. The drops need to be clean, right? Route running. I said JSN was the best route running, second to none, one of the better ones that I've seen coming out of the draft in a couple of years. For the receivers that I've seen, Josh Allen is, for me, the second best route runner so far. I love him. Great route running ability, fast and slippery. He has a great release. He has great acceleration. He has great escapability. Yak ability, I have it here. He gets the ball. He's looking to get more yards. And again, for his frame, you would think he catches, he wants to lay down. No, he catches the ball and he has his eyes. Where can I get more yardage? Love it, right? Because he can play as a slot. I see him playing on the wide side. I'm not thinking that's his base position in the NFL, but he can be a matchup problem because of fast, slippery, toughness, tenacity, the want to for the ball, the 50-50 Catchability again for this size. I'm watching this guy's tape and I'm like, what? He's 5'8". How is he 5'8" and catching all this balls? How is he 5'8" and being so aggressive and contested? Right? I usually don't see that. Like, Say Flowers is another aggressive dude, and I love Say, and he's better than Downs, but Downs is better on the 50-50 that Zay is. Okay, Say is a little bit better overall than Downs, but I wouldn't be mad. I wouldn't be mad with Downs. Like, if you do what I said, that you flip your first for the second of the Cardinals and get Hopkins, and then you draft Downs and you say you're gonna be in the slot, and you get our guy Bateman on the other side, and then Aguilar's your fourth receiver. Now nobody's talking about Aguilar, right? Because now you can have Duvernay being your slot guy, and Downs can be your slot guy, and Aguilar just sprinkle himself for a couple of snaps, right? Jump sometimes for no reason. I said that, and mostly for me it's a slot, but he can play outside with the speed. He has the second gear. He has the vision. The vision is something that not everybody has. He catches the ball and he can see where he's gonna go. He can attack the open field. I actually love this kid a lot. I was surprised, right? I was not expecting myself to like him. The first thing I saw was his height, 5'9", right? And I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I'm gonna review. Right, I'm gonna watch a couple of these games. I'm gonna just fast forward to the offensive plays from NC, and let's see what I can see from this kid. And all I see was great things. Again, he has the drops. I think that's why I think he's a mid second. It might be later because of his height. It's hard. Think about how many smaller-ish receivers had come to the league very, very high and had not produced. Tyler Lockett has been one of the few, but even the guy that just got traded, Elijah Moore, I think he's sub 6 foot, super height, and right. For every one that hits, there's like 10 or 20 that doesn't. But anyway, Josh Downs, a guy that if the Ravens draft him, I wouldn't be mad about it. I think he has a great upside. I think he brings something to this team that we don't have. But he cannot be, you drafted him and that's it, right? You need a big receiver before him. And I think the Ravens should try to push as much as they can to get Hopkins. They tried 3 years ago and did not succeed. This is their time to do so. Jackson and Josh Downs run great routes. You can tell they are able to adjust how to run the route based on the coverage and how the DB is playing him. Yes, that's from Cam the Baptist. Yes, look, JSN that just puts a clinic in route running. He's just stupid. But this kid is not that far behind, right? This kid knows, and I don't know who the OC for NC is, right? The North Carolina, the Tar Heel OC, but he knew how to use this kid. He knew when to put him in bunch, when to put him to run an out and putting people on the slant, right? They knew how to use it. And my hope is with Munchkin now, he can look again. Think about this. You get D Hop again. I think how you fix this offseason, make sure Lamar's back. You get D Hop on the one side. You get Bateman. Bateman's really good receiver. I love Bateman. Health, right? Bateman on the other side. You get Dobbins there in the backfield. And then you get him or Duvernay there in the slot and Andrews. It'd be hard to defend that offense because even if you cover everything, you still have in the back of your mind Lamar, right? I think I think that is a move that the Ravens can do if they want to save their offseason. Make sure Lamar's here. Let's they're not gonna be fully guaranteed, not even close, but whatever your best offer, give him a little more so he feels like he won. And Lamar, in my opinion, is ready to give up a couple of the things that he wants. I think he would like to be in Baltimore. Different from what the media will tell you, I think he does want to be in Baltimore. Give him a little bit more because we're all proud guys, and then he can feel, okay, I got what I want. Let's go cook. And then you can even say to him, look, we're very close to this deal with Hopkins. but we want to sign you first so Hopkins can see, and then boom, get Hopkins. That would just flip this fan base upside down. Now the Nelson Aguilar trade you get signing, you can say, well, that makes sense. He's wide receiver 3 or 4 behind Duvernay. And then look, even if you do the type of trade that I said, you don't even have to draft down. I think it will be great. He will fit perfectly. It will be a great piece, right? But because you had Aguilar so 3 or 4 with Duvernay, and you still have Andrews and Likely, you can say, you know what, I'm gonna go corner and attack whatever the best corner is out there for that position. Even if, maybe because that's a high second, you can go get the late first, and maybe Banks is there, right? And you can go grab him. I don't know. I think even though we all a little down, right? We all looking at each other like, man, we have done nothing. The whole Lamar thing is just it's a bleep show. There's ways to save it. I think the Ravens need to, now that Lamar saw the market, I think he's probably in a better headspace to negotiate a non-fully contract year. But he's probably prideful and not gonna keep what the Ravens gave him last. So go there, just give him a couple extra mil guarantee. Let's just move on, because the Ravens, if you want to win, you need to move. Even if, not that I want to trade, but even a trade would be better than what we are right now, because what we are holding each other hostage, believe it or not. Lamar thinks, well, I can't do anything because the Ravens have all this on top of me. The Ravens like, man, we can't do anything because we're eating this portion of Lamar's contract, and we don't even know if he's coming back. So we are holding each other hostage. So I think it's time. Lamar saw, okay, the team looks like nobody's budging to come sign me. Let me Ravens go, give him a little bit extra, make him feel nice, making him feel like he's worth it, which he is. Then get D-Hop, and your offense is looking better. Let's fill the holes of what we have, and let's compete for a championship. Anyway, guys, if you like my content, again, please like. Obviously, I took for a while a break on this specifically channel. So my rank has gone down, my views has gone down. So all I ask for you guys is share my content with other Ravens fans. Hit the like, put a comment, that helps me a lot, and tell your friends, hey, if you like Raven content, watch this guy, and tell them to hit the bell as well, so you know when I come live. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I will see you next time. Peace out.